Hello, cats and kittens, or they want to say, and welcome back to Manga Monday. Can't trust that day. Anyway, Manga Monday. It's Manga Monday, and we're here with the impressions on the order. But in the immortal words of Aretha Franklin, let's call this jam exactly what it is. Order 66. The MVP of this chapter has resorted to uncanny powers and has she subjugated them to her will and bound them in an unholy alliance to destroy its cause. It is what it is, man. It's Order 66. You get mad, you can say whatever you want. This is Order 66. And, to the victor goes the spoils. If you win, it's all good, whatever. This ain't like the pleasurers and waiters. They turned on their own volition. You know what I'm saying? They recognized that my man Queen was a jerk, and they turned on him. Good for them. The gifters, they were bound to the will of Otama, Empress Otama, into an unholy alliance by means of uncanny powers. But let's go into the chapter. And I'm saying this as a joke, but it's true. Anyway, so it starts off with Tama about to give the order 66, whatever she wants to call it. But she's spooked by Queen and passes out. It's not passes out. Well, I guess you could say she it's kind of like Sugar back in, Dressrosa, but I don't think she passed all the way out. She just got spooked. And then we go to these various scenes of the gifters, getting the drop on people, and especially with Jinbei, he's battling who's who, but we see he has to fight who's who and all of his gifted thugs at the same time. So we see technically he's doing pretty good, because if you're fighting one-on-one and you see he's got blood, going here, and he's definitely been in a struggle, but he's been in a struggle against who's who and a bunch of gifters. And as we see, who's who wasn't going all out. He was using the advantage of numbers, using the numbers to his advantage. And to Jinbei's credit, he doesn't beef. He tells him, we knew we were going to be outnumbered going in. We were outnumbered 5,000 to 3,000. And, our job was to occupy you officers, and, I'm just doing my job or whatever. You see Frankie struggling, with the gifters is back up. Even Jack, Jack is an interesting situation because we know he was damaged from the original battle on the roof. So he has gifters backing him up in a one-on-one against Inarashi, which is kind of punk, but, so be it, to the victor goes the spoils, as I said. So, and, Briscola and they're beating on people, and, things look bad. Then, Tommy gives order 66. And these Bama's turn. He'll turn from whatever perspective you want to look at it. And they commence the beating down on the waiters. No, who's left? Whoever's left. Because not all of the waiters and not all of the pleasurers turn, just the ones that recognize that, Queen was a bastard or whatever. So whoever's left in opposition, these cats turn. Piscola, some of these weirdest looking gifters out there. Anyway, the giraffe lady and all of these people, they all turn and throw the entire thing into chaos. We get a brief snippet of Luffy who is getting, who's waterlogged. And I'll interject that it's interesting that his situation was pretty much played kind of lightly. They're resuscitating him more so than, looking after physical damage that was done by Kaido, like gashing wounds or anything like that. So that plays well into his recovery. He just has to recover from being waterlogged, which is bad for, Devil Fruit users, but he's actually not that worse for wear. So Again, everything's thrown into chaos. Even the CP0 cats recognize. I'm curious to see what the next count is in terms of opponents versus, the Straw Hat Alliance, the invading alliance against the Onigashima forces, what it shakes out as next, because it's got to be coming close to even at this point. So everything's thrown into chaos. Order 66 works exactly as they planned. Recognizing this, Queen goes for a kill shot against Otama and is kicked again by Sanji, who he again references as Judge's son for like the third or fourth time, or at least the third time, and they come to their face-to-face confrontation. At which time we find out that, Queen is actually factually a cyber. And he transforms, what was it? The Maximals, did they maximize or whatever they did? He makes me think of a Maximal from Beast Wars, which is kind of funny anyway. But he's got all kinds of gadgets coming out of everywhere. And, to his credit, Sanji doesn't freak out. He pretty much saw this coming, and he's ready to throw deuce. Then we get the reveal of the side effects of Chopper's. The side effects that the Rumble Ball had on Chopper. I talked to one of my friends, fellow One Piece enthusiast. The side effects don't bother me that much, but the fact that why did he trust Caesar? I mean, if, again, Caesar helped him concoct this, why he worked with Caesar after what he saw Caesar do with the giantification of the children, I would assume he despised the man, but he worked with him apparently, and now he's in baby Giza Chopper mode. All right, fine. Then we find out that the Minks have this instant cure, which I thought Marco was going to heal Zoro, but apparently it's going to be this instant cure that the Miyagi and them had in their back pocket, with the side effect there being that you can get healed up, but once the side effect kicks in, the pain that you have to endure is worse than twice as bad as the beginning, which means nothing to Zoro. To be honest with you, I'm not sure that the damage that he took from the roof is worse than what he took on Thriller Bark when he had to endure his pain and Luffy's pain. I'm not sure this is at that level. And even if it is, we know he's been through that. Pain is the least thing that you could throw at Zoro as a consequence. So he's past that. He's like, all that matters is me fighting now. So King's about to get his hat handed to him. I'll tell you that right now. Now, this is an interesting thing with Who's Who. Yeah, Who's Who brings out that he's trained in the same arts that the CP9 cats, or maybe all the CP agents, that Iron Body technique, and he's going up against Jinbei's Fishman Karate, and it looks like it's a pretty even match. There's nothing Who's Who can throw at Jinbei that Jinbei can't counteract at this point or deflect. Even comes at him with the Tempest Kick, which Jinbei deflects. He comes with this new technique that I hadn't seen Lucci do at all, where he throws a bite at him, basically. And if I'm looking at this correctly, Jinbei, something makes me think that he saw this coming with not Future Sight, but with his observation haki and dodged it. Then we look at what goes on behind him. That chop, that bite that he avoided, cut through. I don't know if that was metal. Whatever the I'm thinking that's metal. It cut through metal or wood or whatever. So it would have done pretty good damage to him had he not dodged it. And we get the big revelation that Who's Who was formerly a CP9 minion or whatever, with potential to rival or equal Rob Lucci, and then he got jailed because he was part of the detail, I guess, that lost the Gomu Gomu no Mi, which was in the possession of the world government and stolen. For what we know, or what we can assume, it was stolen by Shanks, which is how it came into his possession. Why was this? That's the big why. Why was this fruit, this specific fruit, of such importance to the world government, where they had CP0 or 9 or whoever guarding it? And to the point where Shanks felt, if indeed Shanks is the one that stole it, he felt the need to go up against them to get it back. The speculation, of course, would be that that was the fruit of his former captain, Gold Rogers, but we've got no evidence that Gold Rogers had a devil's fruit. Or somebody on that crew, somebody close to Shanks, or somebody of importance. Maybe it was Joy Boy's fruit. Who knows? That's a big reveal. I mean, inquiring minds want to know what's up with the Gomu Gomu no Mi. You know, it's a very useful fruit. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can do a lot with it. That's true. At face value, it doesn't look that big against stuff like, shooting lasers and, doing all kind of weird stuff, fire or whatever. But as we can see, with the proper application and ingenuity, it can be a devastating fruit. That's a big one. That's a big one. And I'm wondering, yeah, the pace of the chapter is great. The reveals are great. It's a pretty good chapter, all in all things considered. And I'm looking forward. I hope we get to see. We've seen snippets of these fights so far. I really want to see Jinbei and Who's Who. I really want to see Sanji beat down Queen, which also, on the side note, and I'm going to get into this later, but if Sanji beats down Queen and secures in our mind that he is at the level of a second Yonko commander, what does that mean about his brothers? Has he surpassed them? And if not, is that to say that like Ichi is like a first Yonko commander because he's stronger than Sanji or whatever? I don't know how that works. I'll debate that with somebody at another time, but it just flashed in my mind, So that's that. Otherwise, I loved the chapter. I thought it was progressive. It was really moved things along. And I really want to see Jinbei go off, but I absolutely want to see Sanji go off on Queen, how he beats Queen. Because you got to do with all multifaceted, offensive, defensive measures against a martial artist, basically. Sanji kicks things, which is not, I'm not knocking that. Okay, you kick anything hard enough, it'll break. But, and again, he's got the raid suit thing going. What I would like to see, in my mind, is that he fights him straight up. Okay, he has to use a rage suit. I'm not a huge fan of the rage suit as a power-up, but he uses it at some point. But as we know, comic book fans out there, what happens every time Batman or Iron Man comes up with a special armor or whatever to fight somebody? They fight, they use it, it breaks, and they wind up winning the fight on the power of love or the power of hard work or determination or whatever. So that's why I want to see Sanji fight initially, get his back up against the wall, use the race who gets damaged, and then he just has to level up on straight, I'm a beast situation and put the dude down on his own strength. Maybe he ups his armament hockey, or maybe his observation hockey goes through the roof to the point where, he's unhittable. And he just hits Queen so many times so hard that eventually he just taps out. I don't know. But that's where I'm at with it. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see him dependent on the raid suit because I just don't like it. Anyway, But however that works out, I want to see those two fights for sure. I'm curious to see what we get next. So that's it from Manga Mondays. Next week we'll give a review of another fabulous One Piece chapter. So that's it. Bye from Manga Mondays. Bye from the Crisis Corner. See you next time. Stay loose.